I decided to skip going to watch Longlegs on Thursday preview evening because I had a live stream I was going to be on, and I sacrificed going to see Longlegs because of this live stream. So I went to go see Longlegs today, and I'm glad I didn't cancel the live stream just to go see this movie. Y'all, I am surprised to have to say that, and I'm going to borrow a quote from Deep Focus Lens. I think it was Deep Focus Lens. It was either Deep Focus Lens or Real Shift. Then I also watched Fish Jelly's review, and I had something that I appreciated about all of their reviews. But I think it was Deep Focus who said something was just off and I wasn't feeling it. And that pretty much encapsulates my experience with Longlegs. I only had seen just the little teaser trailer that basically didn't really indicate anything. And when the full-on trailer came around, I didn't watch it. I did not read into the marketing campaign. I only found out about the details of the marketing campaign last Sunday, I believe it was, when Deleted Scenes had a live stream where he was talking about how brilliant the marketing campaign was. And it's pretty smart. They've created a website that goes into the details of all these murders, kind of reminiscent of the type of marketing campaign that happened when Blair Witch Project came around. So very smart, got people really hyped, but I didn't know about that part of it until, like I said, recently. Hearing about it got me a little bit more excited to see the film. I was already looking forward to watching it, but I went into this and you know, you can't help but notice little slivers of information. People, when they see it, they leave their thoughts. And I was getting the feeling that it was going to be something I would probably really enjoy, that I would dig this thing. And I didn't really. I mean, I didn't outright hate it. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's nowhere near the extent of excellence that I felt like it should have been, I guess. I mean, you would think I would learn not to go into something with a level of excitement. The best movies a lot of times are the ones that I just have no anticipation about at all. So the problem with this film, I feel like it thinks it's smarter than it really is, but there's just quite a bit wrong with some of the writing in here. I'll start off with some of the pros. Let me be kind to it. And I don't want to make you guys think it's absolutely not worth your time. If you like this genre of storytelling, you might really dig this movie. A lot of people really love this film, but some of the hype about it, scariest movie of the decade. No, it's not. No, it doesn't even get comparisons to Silence of the Lambs. The only comparison is this is an FBI agent trying to hunt a serial killer. But as far as comparisons and them being on equal footing, no. This movie is way below Silence of the Lambs, y'all. It doesn't even come close. It is very atmospheric. I do like the cinematography. The acting's decent. This is a movie that takes place in 95, I think. The very first scene is something that happens in 74. Well, maybe it takes place in 94. Whatever. It's the mid-90s. Bill Clinton is president, because you can see his picture on the wall. But the opening shot, which is almost like a frame of film like this, it's like square. I don't even know if it's like 4:3. It's just more square. And that is in the 70s. And there's something that occurs with a child, and Longlegs shows up. Then jump forward 20 years, and this FBI agent played by, her name, Micah. I think her name is Micah or Maika. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. She played in It Follows. She's establishing herself as a legitimate horror type of actor. So she fits in well with this role. But anyway, she's an FBI agent. She is put on this case that's been cold for 20 years. There's this series of murders where entire families have been killed, and yet there's no indication of an outside external person or external outside, it's redundant. There's no indication that someone has forced their way into the house and done anything. It's one of the family members that does the killing, generally like the father, but it just doesn't seem like it seems like something that they were compelled to do, these people. And so she gets on the case, and then immediately stuff, of course, starts happening. Like I said, it's very atmospheric. A lot of dark shots. I got a bit tired of just the dark cast to everything. I mean, do we really have to have every thriller / horror type of movie with it being dark so much? It feels so formulaic now. Like inside FBI offices, and it's kind of dark. And when a couple of agents go to a location, of course they choose to go there at night. Why? You can see better in the daytime. What the heck? And I'm ranting a little bit. So the character, her name is Lee Harker. She is she's kind of an odd duck. And I mean, it's a wonder she even made it as an FBI agent. I mean, someone like her, just the way she comes across with her personality does not seem like someone who would be suited to be an FBI agent right off the bat. That seemed like a mismatch of careers for her. So where was I? I was ranting. Oh, yes. You also pick up on the element of a strained relationship between Lee and her mother. You only see the mother initially through phone calls, and then later you see the mother, the actual character of the mother. The mother seems a bit like a religious fundamentalist. And so you understand early on that this character has a complex background. Along the way, as she's working on this case, there's all these questions that come up. Something that I did put in the pro category is that for the most part, these questions are answered at the end in this like exposition dump that happens in the final, 10, 15 minutes. So make sure to pay attention, because that does explain away certain things. But for some reason, honestly, and I'm going to start to move right into the cons now, for some reason, this explanation, it just didn't gel with me. Probably one of the main reasons why this film did not land with me the way I thought that it would is because I did not know that there was going to be a supernatural aspect to this film. And someone described it, I can't remember who it was now, one of the other reviewers that I watched, maybe Austin Burke, I don't remember. Whoever it was, they described it as an ungrounded element to a grounded movie. So the grounded part of it is this FBI agent, she's investigating these mysteries, these murders. The ungrounded element was this supernatural aspect to it, and it didn't work for me. Even with the explanation, this is how this happened, and this is how this could happen, and this and this. Well, I went into it, yes, kind of expecting something more along the lines of Silence of the Lambs, which was not supernatural in any way, and this was, and so that kind of made me detach from it mentally, because they're just like, okay, maybe this is something I should have known going into it. But I try not to go into it knowing very much. There are some things that, like, I'll give you an example. Abigail, I would have loved to have gone into that not having the first clue what the heck was going on with that little girl. But for some reason, not knowing that there was supernatural stuff attached to this, that did not work in this film's favor for me. Also, the main character, this was the way her character was, and this is in no way a complaint about the actor's acting. She was fine, but I just could not feel connected to her character. Someone described her as in today's language, we would probably refer to someone like her as being on the spectrum, because she definitely had this very strange, she couldn't interact with her fellow humans like most, let's say normal people can. She had this edge to her. Maybe part of it was her upbringing and she wasn't even on the spectrum, but she was just kind of damaged. And if that was the case, why the heck was she an FBI agent? That means there's no way this chick should have been an FBI agent. It's also indicated early on that she has this intuition, almost like psychic intuition. I was like, okay, I could go with that to some degree. It really wasn't explored very much in detail later on. It really didn't go anywhere. It only kind of played out in the opening, one of the early scenes, and then that was just kind of it. So that was a problem. I have a lot of cons here. Some of it might be a bit too spoilery, so I'll try to be vague for some of the stuff, and some I just might not even mention. Another issue with this film was Nicolas Cage. I love Nicolas Cage. He was unhinged in all his glory in this movie. The problem is, as I saw another reviewer saying, or basically comparing his performance, because you can't really recognize him very well with all the stuff on his face, comparing him to Colin Farrell in The Batman. Colin Farrell just sank right into that role. Nicolas Cage, the more you see him and the more you hear him, the more it just seems like Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage. It kind of he went so far overboard into being so creepy and weird. It's like, how the heck did this guy escape attention for so long, being as overtly odd and creepy and weird as he is? Somehow he escaped notice for 20 years. Even though he's in this town, people in the town, or at least one particular person, indicates that that he's weird, creepy, whatever. How has he escaped notice? It feels like his performance as this Longlegs, this baddie, would have been better served if he'd been a bit more subtle with his creepiness. So because he went overboard to the extent that he did, playing this role, it lost its effect. And instead of being creepy or scary, it was just annoying. I was just thinking, please just stop talking. Just let's not see any more of him, because it's not helping. He was best when you didn't see him fully. He was best when you didn't see him often. And he was best when he didn't talk much. And unfortunately, there are multiple times where he is talking a lot. So I was not expecting that to be the con that it was. But he was better in Renfield. Let's say his performance in Renfield matched that character better. It didn't work here for me. Also, the storyline felt like as it went along, it got more and more convoluted. It felt sloppy. Conveniences were just too difficult to ignore. I mean, there are things you find out about the character, the main character, that it's like, oh, really? What are the chances? And maybe I'll leave that sort of stuff at that and not give away too much. Also, other things like conveniently running out of bullets when the full cartridge had not been fired. Things like that. And another thing, going to this property that had been abandoned for many, many years and going into this like farm building that's on the property there, and the outside spotlights are working. But they go inside and it's completely dark. Number one, if the electricity outside is working, why the hell didn't they just turn on something inside? Number two, how in the world would the electricity still be working? Why would the spotlight still be running? This place the family's been killed. There's nobody there anymore. And also, why would the FBI agents choose to go to this location at night? Why? Makes no sense, except for the purposes of, making it more atmospheric. Well, let's have them go here at night so it's more creepy. That was just... there's all these different things, and I'm not even touching on all of them that were an issue for me, but there's another one that was kind of big deal. And it was... There is a character about halfway through the film who dies. This character is a pivotal character. The death of this character should have ensured that the other stuff that continued happening all the way up till the end didn't even happen, because this character was now gone. So there was no good reason for the events to continue the way they did. Keeping it vague to avoid spoilers. If you want to talk spoilers, maybe we can chat about it in the comments section. But there was just... I couldn't even rate this as high as a 3 out of 5, you guys. I rated it 2.75. And I don't know if I'll downgrade it to 2.5 to just give it a... I'm like I said, I didn't outright hate it, but I couldn't love it. And there was too much wrong with it for me to be able to easily excuse. So this is going to be one of those times where I part ways with both the official critics and the audience. Well, the audience score is coming down a little. I think the last I saw it was in the 60s, and it might continue to creep downward as more people see it, and they're like, what? But I've already seen thumbnails of various other YouTubers calling this film a masterpiece, and it is all subjective, obviously, but I beg to differ with that analysis, and I don't say that with any level of smugness or happiness, because I did fully expect to really dig this movie. And unfortunately, I just didn't. Okay, I think that's about enough ranting for today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Curious to hear your thoughts if you get around to watching Longlegs. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.